Welcome back, and today I'm going to make a birthday cake. I'm going to do a spin on a classic birthday cake, and let's get started. And we need to butter the baking dish. I'm going to use a glass baking dish. If you would like to use a metal baking dish, or I'm going to do a 9 by 13. You can use 2 8 by 8s and stack them and make them really fancy. I'm just going to do a glass one, leave it in there, and cut the pieces out. I like to make very good tasting cakes, but I'm not a super good decorator, but it will taste good. So here we go. Let's go over to the sink here. And here is my glass casserole dish. I kind of like the glass too because you can see through it and kind of peek at the bottom to see if your cake is looking close to getting done. So that's another reason why I like to use glass. And it cooks pretty evenly too. So I have just some real butter, some plastic wrap, and I'm just going to try to, I don't need the butter anymore, I'm going to use plastic wrap to just try to get every little area so it doesn't stick. Okay, so that's got it all covered. I'm going to grab a spoon and put some flour. Excuse my reach here. Okay, I'm just going to do this. And then over the sink, I'm going to adjust the camera slightly. To me, this is the hardest part about this whole recipe, or any cake, is just to get this all done. I used to have my kids do this when they were younger. Grease the pan, I always say. And that's how they first pretty much got started in the kitchen, greasing the pan. Okay. So I'm getting the excess off, and then I have a silicone brush I found works very well for getting the rest of it off. Let's see, I'm going to move this a little bit in so everybody can see. Sorry for the strange camera angles. Okay. And I'm just getting the excess off. And I'll just turn it this way and brush it out of here. Okay. Now on to measuring. We'll start with measuring out the flour. So I need 2 cups of all-purpose flour. So when measuring flour, you should use a flat, possibly the back of a butter knife or a spatula, something flat, and level it off. So 1, 2, and the next ingredient is baking powder, and make sure that you use baking powder and not baking soda. And this is going to be a fluffy cake, so we need 3½ teaspoons of baking powder. So here is my 1 teaspoon, and here is my ½ teaspoon. And when doing baking powder, you want to level it off also, but you could use the lid. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to grab the ½ teaspoon, half. So 3½ teaspoons of baking powder. And then a little bit of salt. I don't use the full teaspoon of salt, but if you want to, you can. I use just kind of a dash because I don't like my sweets tasting salty. But you need a little bit just to activate that baking powder. And then I'm going to go ahead and take a fork that I should have already had out and just kind of pre-stir it up with a fork. So those are those dry ingredients. So we need 1.5 cups of sugar. I had to grab it. It was not at arm's length. So, all right. So when doing sugar, you're going to want to level it off as well. 1 cup then a half a cup. Put that in there. And then in the meantime, I had put my butter on the counter to soften up, because we're going to cream the butter and the sugar together. I also want to mention that I have preheated my oven to 350. So I need a half a cup of butter, and on your butter, it's going to say here a half a cup. So an entire stick of butter that's this size, which is 8 tablespoons, is a half a cup. Now, even though this is a little bit softened, I'm still going to help things out by taking the butter knife and just going ahead and kind of just cutting it up to make it blend a little bit easier, and also to get my hands full of butter. That usually happens when you're cooking. You're going to get dirty. Okay, so put that in there and set that aside. I'm putting that, reaching over and putting that near the mixer. Okay, so now I need 3 eggs. Okay. And I use brown eggs, but they can be white eggs. Doesn't matter. Whoops. Oh, mishap. Got to get another egg. I'll be back. All right. So I touched the egg and it just crushed. So it must have been like thin or something. I don't know what happened. But a good tip is always make sure you have extra ingredients. I always have a lot of eggs in the house, so it's not a big deal. But don't go into this recipe only having 3 eggs, because if you have something like that happen, then you're out of luck. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and go wash up a little and clean up this area, and I'll be right back. Now it's time for the extracts. I always like to add my extracts into my egg and then mix it up a little. So this is where I'm going to put a little twist on a classic cake recipe. So I'm going to do the classic vanilla. So I'm going to do a teaspoon of vanilla. And then I'm going to do a half a teaspoon of almond extract. This stuff's so clear it's hard to even see. Okay, there we go. It's as clear as water, this almond extract. Okay, I'm going to put that in there. And then I'm going to put a half a teaspoon of lemon extract. So this is going to give it a unique flavor. And that's what I was wanting, something a bit different that's not a typical birthday cake that you always, you know, I want the flavor to really, I mean, I can smell it right now. The flavor really is, the aroma is smelling absolutely delicious. So now I'm just going to scramble this up. This is going to be quite tasty. I can tell already. All right. So now I'm going to set that aside. And I'm gonna, whoops, the lid was on, don't worry, I didn't make more of a mess. Okay, so I'm gonna go over the ingredients to make sure that we have everything. So 2 cups of flour, 1.5 cups of sugar, which we're going to mix up with the half a cup of butter. And we have our salt is in with our flour. And, oh, see, it's a good idea. I went through everything. We need a cup of milk, so I'm going to go and get some milk out. Milk, and when measuring out liquid ingredients, you need to get level with your measuring cup. And we'll pour in okay, that's good. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. Okay, so then the milk, we have the extract, we have the eggs, we're all good. I'm going to go over to the mixer. Okay, if you heard that, my oven is preheated, again to 350, and I have my ingredients lined up. So I got my butter and sugar in the mixing bowl, and then I have my flour mixture right here, and my eggs and my milk. So everything is at arm's length. So that's important for when you start doing this. And I'm going to show you which beater I'm going to use. I'm going to use this beater. And you do not want to use this style of beater. This is for cookie dough and bread dough and things like that. And you don't want to use this style because it's for like sauces and egg whites. Works extremely well for eggs. Okay, so I have my splatter screen on. These mixers are very powerful. You definitely want to have a splatter screen because you'll make a mess otherwise. I have a nice rubber spatula on this particular type. I can almost use like a spoon, so I'll be spooning out. So what I'm going to do, because I'm going to probably just leave the camera running when I'm doing it, and it's going to be loud from the mixer, is I got my butter and my sugar. That's going to get creamed together. And then I'm going to scrape down the sides, which I'll probably end up mentioning. I'll add my eggs and extract, and then my flour mixture, and I'll take turns with adding a little bit of milk and a little bit of flour mixture. So let's get started. Trying to get a good angle here. Okay, I think everybody could see. Take a peek and see how things are looking. Let's see if I can. Okay, so I'm going to scrape the sides with the rubber spatula. Just making sure nothing's sticking here. And I'm going to definitely mix this some more. It's not sticking, but it definitely needs to be mixed more. Okay, so it's looking pretty good. Now I'm going to add my eggs. I'm going to use that rubber spatula to... Sorry, I think I might have blocked. Oh, no, I didn't. Okay. I'm scraping the bowl to make sure I get every bit of the egg and the extracts in there. And then I will mix it up slowly at first, and then I'll increase the speed. How it's looking. Oh, looking good. So I'm going to scrape the sides a little bit more. Let's see if I can adjust the camera a little bit better so you can see the technique of scraping the sides. So I'm just going to like push it down, make sure there's nothing stuck to the bottom. And the aroma of these extracts coming off of here is really wonderful. Of course, it's raw egg, so I can't sample it. But nothing wrong with just smelling it, and it's wonderful smelling. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and put my splatter screen on, and I'm going to rotate between my flour and my milk and get it all mixed up. I'm going to slowly start adding flour. end up pouring the rest of this in. And the rest of the milk. And then I'm going to increase the speed of it. Okay, time to go ahead and scrape down the sides. And it is almost ready. But I'm going to mix it a little bit longer. The more you mix it and the faster you mix it, it helps the fluffiness of the cake. Because it's actually bringing air into the batter. Okay, this should be nice and fluffy because I beat all the air into it, and it is ready. I'm just going to tilt this so you can see. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and try to get as much batter as I possibly can off of the beater with the rubber spatula. And like I said before, if you want to use a metal pan and pop it out and decorate it and do all that stuff, that's fine. If you want to do two round 8x8s or two square pans that are like 9x9s or 8x8s, you can do that as well. So again, this is a 9x13 is what this is. Single batch. Okay. So as I'm scraping and pouring at the same time, it's kind of hard to... Okay, I'm going to try to turn it and do it without making a mess. Oh, like I said, it smells very good. I'm just going to kind of lift it from the top and just pour it. Okay, try to... I'm my own camera person. My husband does all the editing, but I do all the filming. And so sometimes it's a little bit difficult to get all the angles needed. Okay. Let's try to get as much as we can out of here. So this will be baked, and I mentioned it before, 350 in the oven for about 30 to 35 minutes, but we will check it frequently. I think I will set a alarm for 15 minutes just so we can go into the oven and check it out and see what it's looking like. I'm going to go ahead and spread this. This should be a very fluffy cake. That's why it's not like it looks thin right now. But we put the 3.5 teaspoons of baking powder. So it should be kind of a light, fluffy, airy type cake. Oh, by the way, you could also, I didn't mention, you could also do cupcakes if you want. And I'm not sure how many they would make. Maybe, because they are so fluffy, maybe more than 12. Maybe, I don't know, maybe 15. Depends on if they're really the little ones, you can maybe even get 20 out of them. You'd have to kind of play around with the recipe because they are fluffy. You wouldn't want to go too high in the cupcake tin because it might just overflow. All right, so I'm just going to go like this now, kind of get it even. I'm going to pop this in the oven and we'll check on it soon. 15 minutes, let's take a look. And it's getting quite bigger. Everybody can see that. All right. Hope everybody's having a good day, and we will check again in 15 minutes. Okay. The cake started smelling done and before the timer went off, so I pulled it out of the oven. Let's check it with a toothpick. And it came out perfect. So I'm going to let it cool down and I'll frost it. See you soon. Now time to frost the cake. I made some classic buttercream frosting. You can catch how to do that in another video. All right. Just gonna start putting some of this on here. It's a little like easy to work with because I let the butter soften on the counter. I'm gonna refrigerate this, so it's gonna kind of harden up a little, or thicken up a little, I should say. But it tastes delicious. So I'm making this actually for my mom's 83rd birthday. So I hope that I can do a taste test in front of the camera if there's any cake left. So, but I will let everybody know how that goes, because maybe it might just all disappear and I won't be able to actually taste it in front of the camera, but I will follow up and tell you how it tasted for sure at the end of this video. So look how nicely it just smooths around. I'm going to put more on here. It smells so good. Got to get it in the corners. This device works pretty well. I've used all different things in the past. I need some right in that corner right there, so I'm going to just kind of scoop this out and head to this corner. Trying to get it even everywhere. Oh, I dropped the thing in the frosting, so that'll be fun. Can't wait to try this tomorrow. This looks like it's going to be a delicious birthday cake. All right. So I will be back either with a taste test or a report on how it tasted. I went ahead and made a birthday cake for my mom's 83rd birthday. And I did go ahead and taste it earlier, but since I'm doing this video, I have a really good excuse to have a second piece and share with you how it tastes. Very, very good. This is absolutely delicious. The vanilla and the almond extract and the lemon extract all blend really well. Tastes very good. Almost tastes like what you would expect maybe at a gourmet shop. Super good. And I've never made this before, and I'm quite happy. And everybody that had it today was quite happy with the flavor. I did go ahead and frost it with white icing with real butter. But you could use whatever type of frosting you want. But like I said, it is quite delicious. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Thanks for you who subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. If you don't subscribe, it is free. And please like this video.